In the late 13th century, the Mongol Empire stood as the greatest military power the world had ever known. From the steppes of Mongolia, their armies had thundered across Asia and into Europe, conquering vast lands with unmatched speed and brutality. But there was one nation they could not break, a chain of islands on the edge of the Pacific. Japan. Twice the Mongols tried. Twice, typhoons destroyed their fleets, saving the Japanese from invasion. But what if those storms never came? What if the Mongols conquered Japan? To imagine this alternate history, we must begin in the year 1274. Kublai Khan, grandson of Genghis, has already subjugated Korea and set his eyes on Japan. Tens of thousands of soldiers prepare to sail. Samurai warriors stand ready on the beaches, waiting for the storm. But this time, no divine wind arrives. The fleets land safely. The armies march inland, and Japan falls under the shadow of the Mongol Empire. What would change? What would endure? And how would history itself be rewritten? First, we must understand the Mongols. They were not simply horsemen. By the time of Kublai Khan, the Mongol war machine was a fusion of cultures: Chinese engineers, Persian administrators, Korean shipbuilders. Their armies blended steppe cavalry with siege weapons and naval power. Where they struck, empires collapsed. Japan, though proud and martial, was fractured. Samurai clans held regional power. The imperial court, weakened by centuries of political intrigue, struggled to impose unity. Against the discipline and scale of the Mongol army, Japan's feudal system would have cracked. A Mongol victory would not just bring military occupation. It would impose a new order. The Mongols integrated conquered peoples into their empire. Craftsmen, scribes, soldiers, absorbed. Japanese swordsmiths, farmers, and scholars would have been folded into the machinery of Kublai's Yuan dynasty, and with Japan under Mongol rule, the balance of East Asia would change forever. History offers clues. When the Mongols conquered China, they absorbed the Song dynasty's advanced technology: gunpowder weapons, naval fleets, agricultural systems. When they subdued Persia, they integrated sophisticated finance and administration. Each conquest reshaped the empire. Japan would be no different. Its steel, superior, folded countless times, would have equipped Mongol armies. Its naval knowledge would extend the empire's reach deeper into the Pacific. And its strategic location would open doors for new campaigns. The Mongol Empire might not have stopped at Japan. With secure bases in the archipelago, they could launch expeditions south toward the Philippines, Indonesia, and even the Pacific coasts beyond. So let us walk through what happens step by step. Phase 1. The conquest. The Mongol fleets, unharmed. By storms, land on Kyushu. Samurai resistance is fierce but scattered. Without divine intervention, the sheer weight of numbers overwhelms them. The Mongols march inland, seizing Kyoto, forcing the emperor into submission. The feudal system collapses under Mongol-appointed governors. Phase 2. Integration. Japan becomes a vassal state within the Yuan dynasty. Its resources, timber, rice, steel, flow into Mongol supply lines. Samurai either swear loyalty to their new overlords or face annihilation. The sword becomes a tool of the empire, not a symbol of independent honor. Phase 3. Expansion. With Japan secure, Kublai Khan pushes outward. The Mongols launch fleets southward into Southeast Asia with greater naval power than ever before. Vietnam, already under pressure, faces invasion from both land and sea. Trade routes across the Pacific swell under Mongol control. The dream of a truly ocean-spanning empire begins to take shape. Phase 4. Cultural transformation. Over decades, Mongol rule reshapes Japan itself. Buddhism, already present, deepens under Mongol influence, merging with traditions from China and Tibet. Shinto shrines are repurposed, some destroyed, others adapted. The Japanese language absorbs Mongol and Chinese words, its writing system reshaped by imperial administration. Samurai culture, once defined by loyalty to local lords, evolves into a militarized caste serving the empire. Phase 5. Global Ripple. The conquest of Japan alters more than Asia. Europe, already shaken by Mongol incursions, now faces an even greater threat. An empire with Pacific bases, stronger fleets, and more resources. The Mongols might have endured longer, perhaps stabilizing the dynasty that historically crumbled in the 14th century. The entire trajectory of global history, exploration, trade, empire, would be transformed. It is tempting to see Japan's survival as destiny. After all, the storms that destroyed the Mongol fleets were called kamikaze, divine winds, said to be sent by the gods to protect the islands. For centuries, Japan believed it was spared for a purpose. But history is fragile. A change in the weather, a shift in the tide, and everything might have been different. The swords of the samurai might have served under the banner of the Khan. The culture of Japan, its art, its faith, its independence, might have been reshaped forever. And perhaps the Mongol Empire, armed with Japan's strength, would have endured centuries longer. Perhaps the modern world would look nothing like it does today. So we are left to wonder, how much of history is destiny and how much is chance? Could a storm decide the fate of a nation? Could a gust of wind preserve an entire culture? If the winds had not blown, Japan might have vanished into the Mongol Empire, and the story of the world would never be the same. Fade to black. The sound of waves rises, then stops abruptly. Next time. What if the Library of Alexandria had never burned?